Hey YouTube, I don't know how I feel about this. In the Green League and Ultra League, there are Pokemon that get buffed and start jumping into the top 10 and become usable Pokemon. But in the Master League, when the Pokemon are so reliant on their ranking and how strong they are, getting a new Pokemon at the top, which seems like every like 5 or 6 months, just seems like a huge investment for something that costs 296 XL candies and an insane amount of dust. So what happened here is we had I forget what came first. I think the Origin forms, Origin Palkia, Origin Dialga, Palkia just jumped absolutely to the top of the rankings. It's got overall like nice high attack, which you get normally with dragons, 252 attack, okay defense and stamina, and then you just have like a nice combo moveset. You have the Dragon Breath or Dragon Tail, whichever one you want to use, and then you have a kind of a bait move, but then you have that sort of, I don't know, we'll call it legacy move, Spatial Rend, great damage per energy there. And then we got the Necrozmas. At the last Go Fest, we got Necrozma Dawnwings and Dustmane. And same thing, you got a pretty good, nice attack, okay defense and stamina overall, and then you just got nice movesets, right? Shadow Claw and Moongeist Beam, and then maybe like Dark Pulse for coverage. So overall, Pokemon that just kind of rose to the top, and then change the meta to then just get absolutely obliterated by these new Crown Sword and Crown Shield Pokemon, Zacian and Zamazenta. And to the top of the rankings, they go by a mile. And as you can say, I just looked at the attack for these Pokemon and their defense and stamina, which are okay. And then you open Zacian and you notice, oh, hello, not only do you have the highest attack here of the ones I just looked at, 291, you also have a defense that's over 200 for a 10,800 overall. So having that stat product alone is insane. In terms of movesets, you again have one of these sort of legacy moves, Behemoth Blade here. 55 for 120, 2.18 in itself is okay. Close combat, you have a nuke that you can just 45 for 100. Nuke is used loosely in the Master League because pretty much every one of these Pokemon can survive 120 damage move, even if it's super effective. I think most can probably do all right with these. It needs to have Metal Claw because Metal Claw is not a fantastic move, just 3 damage and 3.5 energy per turn. So in itself, if we were just talking about the fast move as a moveset, that's not that fantastic. But because your stats are so insane and your charge moves are fantastic and your typing is impeccable for the Master League, only weak to 2 things, fire and ground. There's like 1 or 2 grounds, maybe 1 fire, but how many tier? 1, 2, 3. Triple resisting dragon is fantastic. Double resisting bug, and then single resisting rock, psychic, poison, normal, ice, grass, flying, fairy, dark. A lot of what you're seeing in the meta. So a fantastic typing. Okay-ish fast move, not great. Great charge move, insane stat products. Oh yeah, and something that most of us who have not gone to an in-person Go Fest or don't have the tickets do not have right now. So the good news is that these Pokemon will be available during Global Go Fest. That is in 2 weeks' time. So, maybe you might want to sit out a Master League for this one if you don't have these Pokemon. Zamazenta is ranked number 2. You can see that just the score alone, it is 3 points lower. And that is because when you look at the stat products, the defense is higher here, but the attack is much lower. Almost 10,000, not quite 10,000 overall, but still, when you're looking at an overall stat product and that balance of attack and defense, much higher than you're going to get with the majority of the other Pokemon. Again, just going to have, yeah, I guess it's still probably going to be Metal Claw because you want to get these moves quicker. So still just the Metal Claw, yes with the close combat, yes with the Behemoth Blade. This one is a steel fighting Pokemon. So getting stab on this one, but not this one. Oh no, you're Steel Fairy on this one. So you get stab on both, same type attack bonus. So again, you have an okay fast move with a decent close combat and charge move. Where the difference is this close combat gets stabbed, same type of attack bonus, which is why you're seeing the damage is at 120 instead of 100. So your secondary typing is fighting here, so steel fighting as compared to Steel Fairy. So with that, you pick up you do not neutralize that fighting weakness. It was neutralized on the steel because of the fairy, but is back on this one. So you have 1 more weakness and less resistances. Dragon goes from being triple resisted to just being single resisted, but you still have some nice resistances here. So you have, again, overall nice resistances in typing, good charge moves, fast move, a little less of a stat product than the Zacian, but still fantastic compared to everything else in this meta, which moves them to the top. And next you can see like just the difference between the first and fifth or sixth here is 9 points, which is not inconsequential. Let's just kind of look at, okay, if you are worried about these Pokemon, how do you have to beat to build them? You know, fire and ground. So I'm guessing those are going to be two of the ones that you're going to be your losses on. Let's look at Zacian first. A ridiculous 31-10 record. And not surprising, the ones that beat you, you know, you got a Psychic Steel, so it's at least neutralizing the close combat, and it will resist the Steel move, right? So resisting the Steel move on the Steel and neutralizing the close combat with the half Psychic typing, which is why Necrozma and Metagross here as the Psychic Steel typing beats that. And then you got your Grounds, which will beat it, and then your Fires, which beat it, which they are weak to. But we don't measure... When I personally, up to you how you look at Pokemon. When I look at Pokemon, I don't care about the ones that they're, unless you're just like weak to like 9 things in the meta. Like, okay, that I've called out Psychic Pokemon in the past, like Claydol in the Great League, because you know when you have a typing that picks up a lot of weaknesses and all those weaknesses are in the main meta, then your typing matters. But for the most part, like if you only have a couple weaknesses and you're going to lose to those things that you are weak to, you're going to lose to ground because it's ground. You're going to lose to Ho because it's fire. Like that's expected. So I don't care about your losses to the things you're supposed to lose to. What I care about is how you do in neutral matchups, right? So Water Kyogre beat you because Water is resisted by Steel. So yeah, there's a second, like, it doesn't show up on your weaknesses, but shows up, it's a resistance to all the Steel moves you have, which causes you to an issue. But then, again, here we go. Neutral matchup, Giratina, Lunala, Palkia, Kyurem, Tapu Lele, Giratina. Like, these are all just, like, generally neutral matchups. Now, neutral in the fact that you're not hitting super effective against them, they're not hitting super effective against you. But your typing is obviously coming into play here, right? Because you're half Steel, so these Dragon Breasts and stuff will be resisted. And this is where your typing is just coming in. Dragon's going to be resisted. Dark's going to be resisted on the Fairy. Side Strikes, Psychic's going to be resisted. Fairy's going to be resisted. So just all these, the typing coming into play here. So you're going to beat the ones you're supposed to beat. You're going to lose the ones you're supposed to lose to. And I haven't talked about like the real ones you're supposed to beat, right? We're just like these dragons that just don't have any moves for the Steel Fairy in of themselves, like Dragon Claw, Super Power. At least Super Power is maybe neutral. Fairy single or double resist? I think single resist, so it'd be neutral. But yeah, just so many of the main meta here. So maybe with this and Zamazenta a little less, 29 and 12. Again, most of the things that it's basically the same things you're going to lose to in the against the Zacian, you're going to lose to here. Mewtwo being the exception because Psy Strike will hit neutral because you're half Steel, half fighting here. So that will neutralize the Psy Strikes, which means those are just going to spam. And you have to throw the Behemoth Blade on this one because the close combat would be resisted against Mewtwo. So Mewtwo is going to pick up Zamazenta where it would still lose to Zacian. But outside of that, I guess that's the same with this Superpower. Interesting. I guess Superpower is neutral now because of the half Fairy does not offset it. But then I'll look at all these wins that you get into it too. So again, I don't play the Master League enough to know teams, which is why I'm not even going to do teams on this. This is just purely a look at these two Pokemon, why it makes them strong. We can look at stats. We know just based on the attack and defense combination alone, they deserve to be in the top one. The charge moves are great. The typing is fantastic. Obviously, these two They can't even have a better fast move because they're already top ranked because of every other thing I just mentioned. If you give them a better fast move, these would be broken. So you have to keep it at Metal Claw. It's not going to get any better than that because they would just make these Pokemon broken. So I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to see, like, I know Landorus is still pretty good safe swap. I know Necrozma Dawnwings is still a great Pokemon, and I know Ho-Oh still has Ho-Oh. People always make fun of him for that. Ho-Oh still has a lot of play. So I think there's enough here in these Pokemon that can deal with these top ranked Pokemon. But when you pair it with like Palkia, I'm guessing. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Palkia just makes the most sense right off the bat because some of the tough losses you're going to get against these grounds and flyers and fires, Palkia will just deal with. So that is not surprising to me that you just balance out a Zamazenta or Zacian with a with a Palkia, and I'm guessing it's the same for Zacian here. Yeah, there's your Palkia. Balance it out, and you have insane coverage band on the board. So if you're lucky enough to have a Palkia Origin with fantastic IVs and all the candies, and a Zacian Crown Sword because you just went to Go Fest, and you have that with all the candies and stuff, congratulations. You have a fantastic pairing for the Master League. I'd love to showcase one, and we are not touching Master League with a 10-foot pole here. Just not accessible in any sort of way for the majority of people. The good news is, again, you know what, I haven't done I'm going to do my analysis for GoFest closer to, so I don't even know the difference in the paid ticket versus the non-paid ticket. I think, I'll have to check this, and I'll definitely check this when I do the analysis. I think it does not matter if you pay or don't pay. You can get access to these Crown Sword Pokemon at Global Go Fest. So I think this is not going to be an issue for, it's an issue if you can't play Global Go Fest or you can't raid enough, because these will cost a lot of candies to, I think probably, I don't know if there's a fusion on these, but at least XLs to power up to level 50. So of course it's still an accessibility issue, but maybe with Go Fest, it's a little less of an accessibility issue, because if you truly do just book time for Go Fest and you're lucky enough to have a community that is active, you should be able to raid enough to get these Pokemon built up, even though it's going to cost a lot of raid passes, which again costs money, right? So there's an accessibility issue as opposed to some of these Great League Pokemon, which you can just kind of go out and catch and stuff. But everyone has different views on rating and different views on accessibility and stuff like that. How I play versus how you play may be completely different. So good luck to you all. Like I said, if you went to Go Fest, you have this Pokemon, let me know. Love to showcase it. Otherwise, we will, I guess, focus on the Ultra League teams, which I did this morning. Play a couple of those matchups. There is the Dragon Community Day this weekend. We will cover that later this week. But that is something to look forward to for, I think, most people. Talk about accessible. Just a community day there. So otherwise, that is it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.